doesn't put the template up. It doesn't put the colors up. Oh.
So, again, the title for the sermon today is Standing in the Shimmer, a meditation on uncertainty. Because I don't know about you, but I am feeling a lot of uncertainty right now in every way. Part of it is just what's happening in nature. We are almost at the end of October and most trees are still green. Around me, there are many trees that are turning straight from green to brown, no color. And when I read what's happening, it seems like it's the drought, pollution, the length of the day, the temperature of the day, all of these are playing a role. But we don't know because some of the maples are starting to change color. Some of the ginkgo trees down my building are starting to change color. Maybe there is hope. I don't know. And how do I stay in that not knowing without collapsing to either end? That is the meditation today. Will we have a color extravaganza? Will we have a muted autumn? Or will it be a combination? Some permutation of both? We don't know. I love this word shimmer. And I decided to look up the etymology of this word, shimmer. And it apparently comes from Old English, and it literally means repeated tremulous light, not steady but wavering, light that flickers at the threshold, and you can't quite pin anything down in this light. The things are constantly shape-shifting. And I feel like that's what we're living right now. In terms of nature, yes. Also in terms of politics, right? Like we have the mayoral race elections coming up in a week. We don't know. Are we going to choose something new? Are we going to stay with the old? We don't know. We had the No Kings rally. 7 million people showed up. And yet the Golden Ballroom is being built. Both. It's not this or that, it's both. What do we do with that not knowing, that place where something is ending, something is not yet born? How do we stay in that place? And our ancestors have known this place for a very, very long time. Cultures around the world know how to hold this threshold or these thresholds. So here in this country, we're preparing for Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Dia de los Muertos. Again, this idea of what lives in the shadows, what lives in this, behind this veil. Celtic tradition will celebrate Samhain at this time. The tradition that I come from this past Monday, the 20th, India celebrated Diwali, which is the festival of lights. But my tradition, the Bengalis, on that night, we celebrate Kali Puja. And Kali is the goddess of darkness, destruction that rebuilds. So our ancestors knew that these moments are so large that we need a large story to hold them. It can't be our daily conversation. It has to be something bigger. So I bring in Rilke again. Rilke says in his letters to a young poet, Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. So live the questions now. What if we practiced this? What if we practiced staying in the question without needing to have an answer right away? And without looking away. So unflinching gaze on that unknowing. So how I have been doing this, or how, it's not even I have been, that's actually incorrect. It's more like how it's been taught to me. I'm finding there are two teachers that are speaking to me right now. One is this morning light of autumn. I just love the autumn mornings. So, and I live on the 16th floor in Roosevelt Island, overlooking the river and the Manhattan skyline, looking south and kind of southeast. So I'm up in the morning, I have my hot cup of chai, and I either stand by the window or sit on my couch, and I see this color change. So it starts from black sky, and slowly it starts to get lighter and lighter. And it's almost like tentative, like light is not very sure that it should come. And then we have this flush of pink. And then the pink changes, it becomes darker, salmon, coral, and finally it's gold. And there are some windows on the eastern face of Manhattan that catch the sun that's rising in the east that I can't see. So it's behind the buildings in Queens. But the reflected sun is caught by these windows, and there's like 10 suns glowing just for a few, maybe 2 minutes at most. And then there's this moment which it's kind of, my hands feel cold right now as I even think about that. It's like all the color drains. Suddenly it becomes this kind of stark white light, this kind of bleached bone color, I call it. And I used to look at the 59th Street Bridge, and the struts of the bridge are like this bright white. To me, okay, that's winter showing through. It's coming. That stark white light is coming. And then it's gone. The whole light show is 15, 20 minutes at the most. So if I'm not there right at the right time, it's gone. This is not a teacher who has a lot of patience. It's not going to repeat the lessons. And yet, this is a light show that's going to keep coming every day. If I'm there, I'm not there, it doesn't care. Even if it's raining or the sky is overcast, I know that the light show is happening, just I can't see it. There's that steadiness. And lately I've been calling that the physics. Physics as the teacher, the angle of light, the Earth's turning. Those are things that the Anthropocene cannot mess up. That's guaranteed. That's the steady heartbeat of the universe. And that gives me hope. And it also, honestly, it also scares me because I think about what's this going to look like 10,000 years from now? Is there going to be human beings? Is there going to be buildings? Is there even going to be trees or birds? Or is it just going to be the river and some rocks? But I know that this light show will go on even then. So that's one teacher, the steady, rhythmic, mathematical teacher, the light. The other teacher is biology, life, ecosystem, the seasonal life, and that's stuttering. It's not stopped yet. I don't think it's beyond repair, but it's stuttering. And what I opened with this idea, this experience that we're having of the trees not knowing what to do. It's so common because the days are not as, nights are not as cold. Days are often not as sunny. There's not enough water. All those things make a difference. As I said, I live on Roosevelt Island. We have this strange experience. I used to call it a family of geese, Canadian geese, but I think it's more like a village of Canadian geese, like 40 or 50 of them. They live on the island year round. They do not migrate anymore because they don't need to. While that is great, and we see the kids being born every year, those goslings crossing the streets, there's something really scary that Canadian geese are not migrating. Below our building, there's a stand of these Japanese, they're called Japanese snowbell trees. They give out these beautiful, fragile pink flowers in early spring. Last winter, throughout the winter, every time the days got warmer, it would give out like a spurt of flowers, and then it got cold and the flowers would wilt and turn brown again and again. And I used to just stop in front of those trees and just pray that let not the sap freeze inside this tree because the tree will die. Because the sap should not be running at this time. And that is a reality. And then you read about these stuff of like birds arriving in fields, expecting worms. The worms haven't come up because of climate change. We hear in the northeast of this country, where bears are not hibernating at all or hibernating for a very short time. And so they are using up the calories that they do not know how to replace. And then they will raid human habitations, and then they'll be shot, and the whole sequel will unfold. So we have the steady teacher, the mathematical teacher, the teacher who is rhythmic, who is precise, who cannot be moved. And we have this teacher who's biology, who's stuttering. And my invitation is, how can we hold both? And is there a way that we can maybe tend in whatever our reach is, can we tend what is stuttering? And that might just mean human relations for us, or our relationship to our plants in our own garden, or whatever it is. Where is my reach? I think that's a really, really important part of this thing. And then the other piece that I was thinking about, and this hit me last night, I was talking to Harriet about this, middle of the night. I was like, okay, so fall. Trees go from green to yellow, orange, red, purple, and then they fall. And I studied botany a long time ago. I was like, I remember there's some pigments involved, so let me look up what they are. And I found this amazing teaching in these color changes. So basically what's happening in autumn, or what should happen in autumn if autumn doesn't stutter, is the chlorophyll. So the days are getting shorter. So there's not enough photosynthesis. So the chlorophyll is slowly going to the green color. What gives green color to the leaves is slowly going to withdraw. And the yellow and the oranges that we see, for example, in the ginkgo leaves, are actually always there. They are keratin and xanthophyll. They're called carotenoids. They have always been there. They were just covered over by the chlorophyll. They've been patiently waiting for the chlorophyll to withdraw so they could show themselves. That golden color. So I hold that as a teaching, the patience of the beta carotene. Wow. And then the red and the purple, they're different. They're actually not produced for most of the year. They're only produced at this time. And they are produced because this is the time, as the chlorophyll is withdrawing, the plant will try to salvage as much of the nitrogen and phosphorus as it can, bring it back into the roots, so it can be used in spring again. During that time, the leaves are very sensitive to photo damage. So these are called anthocyanins. Let me just make sure I'm giving you the right anthocyanin, the red purple pigment, and that its job is to act as sunscreen, literally, for those leaves, so that it can do the job of salvaging these nutrients before it dries and falls off. And again, this like, wow, what a teaching here. Like even the dying, when it's tended, when it's cared for, when it's hospiced, there's so much beauty in that death. And it's not hurried. It's not today green, tomorrow dry brown. There's this process of reddening, the process of, enlivening. It's this kind of flush of life. So I'm holding that to those teachers, the patience of carotene, the teacher, and patience of anthocyanin, and this active hospicing role that this pigment gives us. So as I walk on the street and I see these leaves, I'm like, wow, you're teaching me. You are here as a teacher. And what can I learn from you so that I can live in this moment in a more, more coherent way, with more integrity, with my eyes open. So let's, so I keep going back to Rilke again and again. We don't know what we're doing. Can we hold both? Can we hold carotene's patience and trust what is hidden, knowing that it will release itself or reveal itself as time is ripe? And can I at the same time have this anthocyanin's care of investing in that process of dying, of tending to that dying? That has to happen for the new life to come in spring. But isn't it beautiful if we don't look away from the dying, but really engage with what is it teaching me? And it's teaching me to bloom in this moment of dying. So that's standing in the shimmer, standing between what stutters and what is steady, what repeats with mathematical precision day after day after day, year after year after year, and what is becoming confused. And they're both here. So I'll leave you with a short blessing from Jan Richardson, another of my favorite poets. And this one is especially apt for this conversation today. And she calls it Blessing in the Chaos. To all that is chaotic in you, let there come silence. Let there be a calming of the clamoring, a stilling of the voices that have laid claim on you, that have made their home in you, that go with you even to the holy places, but will not let you rest. Let there be an opening into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible, and see what shimmers within the storm. That, my friends, is the invitation.